think, act, and prosper. You are now tuned into the Money Level Show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Money Level Show where we think, act, and prosper. And today we're going to talk about, are we really starting to see inflation right now? So now this has been a hot topic for debate. Many people have said, oh, well, a lot of the unemployment leads to deflation and things like that. I even had Stephen Van Meter on my channel where he talked about how a lot of what we're seeing today is deflationary and we may see some pockets of inflation. And then you have the inflation camp that talks about the prices skyrocketing of a lot of different things and filling it in their own pockets and saying, like, you can't tell me that this isn't inflation. And so we're gonna get into this a little bit deeper today and just talk about what are we seeing and what is happening in our economy. So first off, I have a few personal experiences I wanna share in regards to inflation and that I've actually seen myself. And so for me, being a real estate agent, we've seen the cost of lumber prices soar and they have went really high. And when I say this, when I'm talking to people that are investors that build homes and things like that, they have told me themselves that the price of lumber has increased about $25,000 to build a home. And so what used to cost $25,000 less actually costs about $25,000 more. In some cases, it has been more than that, depending on how big the home is and things like that. But that is kind of the average that I've been hearing. So this is very important because we're seeing these prices of lumber increasing. And so some people may argue that, well, the price of lumber is due to the shutdowns and the supply chain interruptions in Canada. However, my response to that is that we're still seeing the price increase. And lumber isn't the only thing, but we've seen how home values have went up so high. I mean, have skyrocketed however many percent since the pandemic started. I mean, I know for my home, I bought in 2019 for about $215,000. I recently got it refinanced and it appraised at $310,000. And so this has only been less than 2 years that I've owned the property and it's went up $100,000. And so we can't say that we're not seeing inflation in these housing prices and stuff. And obviously the housing market looks different in different areas. For me, we have a lot of people moving over from Seattle. They're wanting to get out of a lot of urban dense areas because of COVID, protests, things like that. And so they're coming over to my community and they are buying homes up. And so that is definitely a factor that I'm considering when I'm looking at the home prices. But the home prices that I've been seeing has been on a nationwide basis that the values of homes have continued to went up. And what we're having in the market for real estate is we're having a lot of bidding wars. People are outbidding each other. People are coming in, especially in my community, paying $400,000, $500,000 cash for properties. I've been beat out of a few offers for my buyers because it is a very competitive environment. And I actually enjoy it because I'm getting to learn a lot in one of the most intense times. And so I think that'll be very valuable as I go forward. And so we've seen the prices of homes increase. Another personal experience is that the price of used cars have went up. I've heard a statistic saying that used cars have went up about 52%. Now, recently I was in a car accident and obviously I'm all right because I'm talking to you guys today. But I had to go buy a new car. I had to buy I bought a used car. I don't really like buying new cars unless it's something that's like a classic car that's gonna hold value or something like that. But I went and bought a used car. And the statistics say that used car values have went up 52%. And so why is this? We're obviously seeing a worldwide chip shortage. We're seeing an interruption in that supply chain, which has been making it troublesome for car producers to produce new cars and to make new cars, and which makes it harder for people to buy new cars. And so the cost of used cars have went up as a result of that. So now in regards to my experience, I ended up calling Avis Car Rentals. Before, I had bought a used car from Avis back in 2017 because rental car agencies sell their cars after 30,000 miles, if you guys didn't know that. And they're usually some pretty decent cars. They keep them up, they do their oil changes and things like that. Some people may argue, well, people drive rental cars crazy and stuff, but these cars actually have manufacturer warranties and things like that. And so I bought a car from Avis back in 2017. So I called Avis again recently as I had to get a new vehicle, and they said that they are having trouble buying new cars. And so they are not selling any of their old cars at all. They are having trouble buying new cars, so they won't be selling any old cars for a while. And so that was what I've heard personally from that experience myself. Now, that is something that's happening. So with the chip shortage, this not only affects the car industry, affects electronics and other things that we like. And so we will see how this affects, when we have the new iPhone come out or anything like that. We'll see how this affects and plays out, but it is definitely concerning, and it has definitely caused the prices of cars to go up dramatically. Now, food. We've seen the price of food go up, especially since the pandemic. We've seen the price of groceries rise, the price of beef doubled in the last 2 years, and things like that. So that is something that we don't even really need to address. That's something that we've seen since COVID first started. Now, some other things, we've seen gas prices go up. I mean, gas prices during the pandemic dropped down to about $2 or something a gallon where I live, and now it's back up to $3.50 a gallon. And so we've seen those go up as well. And so we're seeing the prices of some of the things that we use every day going up. I remember I used to go get my car washed right down the street. It was at Sure Clean Car Wash. It used to have a big sign, $5 car wash. Pandemic started, now that costs $7.50. So we're seeing the prices of things go up, and now the question is if the CPI is actually reflecting this. So here's actually a chart from Lynn Alden that shows the prices of healthcare and all these different things going up and the CPI staying the same. Now, what is really happening? Is this being manipulated by the government? I mean, we suspect that, but it's not really showing the things that we're seeing increase in price in these charts. And so that is a problem. I mean, because we've obviously seen the asset prices, homes, stocks, Bitcoin, gold and silver went on the run, all those different things. And so we've seen these assets increase in price, and we can't buy as much as we could before with our dollars. And so we're seeing some inflation for sure. And that is kind of my take on this. We are seeing inflation. Now, one of the other things we've seen increase in price is container ships. We've seen these skyrocket, double the price that they were pre-pandemic because of the shortage in them. And then we had the Suez Canal and some other things happen that pretty much disrupted our supply chains globally. And so we're seeing the prices of goods and services definitely rising. Another thing is ammunition. So for me, I'm a gun owner. For me, I'm very pro 2A. And I think that we've seen ammo prices, quadruple or double, in some cases triple. I remember buying a box of 45. I actually bought a box of 45 for about $20, and then I had a friend of mine who really needed some, and I told him just to offer me a price. Just offer me how much you're gonna pay for them. I don't know how much they cost right now because different sites are saying different prices and different stores are saying different prices and stuff. So just let me know how much you'll pay for them. He offered me $60, so that is triple the price of what I had paid for it back in last year. And so we've seen the price of ammunition, the price of firearms also increase. And so we are seeing the prices of these goods and services and the commodities increase. And so we are definitely seeing some inflation. Now, when will this show up in the CPI? We don't know when it'll show up. I mean, we obviously saw a higher CPI number year over year since last year. But will we ever see it in the CPI? The thing is I'm not sure. We don't know if the Fed is just wanting to cover things up and don't want people to know that there's inflation happening. I mean, Jerome Powell comes out and says inflation would be transitory, which means that it won't be permanent, and that the Fed has the tools to pretty much take care of inflation and to reduce inflation, which I don't believe one bit, because the Fed has tools to print money, which is going to cause more inflation, especially if that money gets out into the broad market as far as governments spending money, fiscal policies. I mean, Joe Biden's $1 trillion infrastructure plan, things like that. So I believe that it's going to cause more inflation. However, the Fed cannot really raise rates. I mean, if they raise rates, it's going to cause something to happen in the market where the market may break, because many agencies, many businesses, and even our government cannot pay higher interest rates when we are so over leveraged with debt right now. And so I don't believe that inflation is going to be transitory, and I do not believe that the Fed has the tools to take care of inflation, because back in the 80s, Paul Volcker actually was able to hike the interest rates up, let the market set the interest rates went close to 20%, and they were actually able to fight off inflation in that way. And it took a few years to do that, but it was able to happen. So that is what I'm seeing in my community. That is what I'm seeing with my own pocketbook, where money is going, where are the prices increasing, and things like that. And so if you want to comment down below, what are some other things that you are seeing increase in price? And what is your take on inflation right now? Because we're obviously seeing something. Some people are saying that it's not inflation, but we are experiencing this. And many of us have not lived through the 70s where they experienced a lot of inflation. And so we're definitely seeing something different. And we're seeing our purchasing power of our dollars definitely being decreased. And so I want to thank you all for joining the Money Level Show today. Be sure to subscribe. And I want to thank you all for your support. Peace.